Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Georgiman, and I'm your friendly neighborhood anime and manga fan. I love all things anime and all things manga, and I'm here today to talk about the whole situation that's ongoing with Studio MAPPA. You know, how it could have all been avoided, what's happening currently, and what's going to happen going forward. Because if you guys aren't unaware of this, Studio MAPPA is going through a lot of drama right now, currently with their animators, their working conditions, and it's something that has been going on for a very long time. And it's only up until now that, you know, a lot of people are starting to catch up. And it's the domino effect because now, you know, one little thing that can happen, it keeps stacking up, and now everything's falling down for them. And I want to discuss pretty much how it could have all been avoided and how we got here to begin with, as well as, you know, fill you guys in what's currently going on if you've been unaware about the whole situation. Now, before I go any further with this video, I just wanted to give you guys a quick reminder to make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you guys can be up to date with all my anime and manga content that I'll be providing in this channel. It really helps out a lot, and I would really appreciate it if you guys could subscribe to my YouTube channel. So if you guys could, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Now, with all that out, let's talk about what's currently happening at Studio MAPPA. So, to simplify things, what's ongoing is that pretty much animators are fed up and they're ready to quit. They're not being treated well, they're being overworked, and they're understaffed, and they're just working under the worst, you know, pretty much working conditions you could ever imagine. Just so you guys can get an example. During one of the episodes, I believe is the episode where Maki and Nanami and the leader of the Sending Clan, when he was fighting Dogon, the water curse spirit, that episode was only handled by 2 people. And that's insane. And they only had about, I forget the time, but they only had like 2 weeks to animate the whole thing. Only 2 people, guys. Remember, only 2 people worked on that episode. That's insane. Like, you need more time than that. And it doesn't help out that many of the animators have been saying that, you know, a lot of these episodes are not even finished. For example, everybody loves the last episode of JJK of season 2, which was, you know, Sukuna versus Mahoraga. You can look this up. It's been on record that pretty much all the animators have said that that episode, that fight was only 30% what they wish it could have been. Like, it was only 30% done. So they had to scram and make it work somehow. And just think about if they actually gave time to the animators, because that episode I thought it was great. Did it have some bumpy roads in the way? Yeah, sure. But overall, it was a phenomenal episode with amazing art, and it's just a stellar episode. And overall, I thought that the animation was amazing. And if you just imagine this, guys, if they actually gave it, you know, were able to live up to that 100% that they were talking about with enough time, just how more amazing that episode could have been. And that's one of my issues with Studio MAPPA, is that you guys keep bumping out product left and right, taking on projects without, like, you know, spacing it out. And just so you guys, let's go down a little bit of memory lane for how we got to this point now. So for you guys that don't know how Studio MAPPA came to be, Studio MAPPA came to be originally because, if I remember correctly, one of the higher-ups at Madhouse, which is another legendary animated studio, you know, they made anime such as Death Note, Hellsing Ultimate, Claymore, Black Lagoon, the list goes on and on. Just an iconic studio. Nana, that's another one. They just done a bunch of iconic animes. Pretty much, if you're an anime fan, you probably have seen one of their animes that they animated. But the point is, one of the higher ups from there left because I guess they didn't like the way that Madhouse was being handled or whatever. So they instead wanted to create their own animated studio, which was MAPPA. Now, it's funny when you think about it, they didn't like how the way that MAPPA, the person that created MAPPA and all that, how he left Madhouse because they didn't like the way that they were working or whatever, the working conditions or whatever the way they were being handled. You know, it's kind of ironic that that's them now. It's that meme where, you know, you either die the hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain, and that's pretty much what's happening with MAPPA. You know, originally they wanted to make it a animated studio where, you know, hopefully they had better working conditions, but they're even worse. Because even though Madhouse is not the powerhouse that it used to be, I mean, they still got projects like Freen, which I hear is very great. I haven't seen it yet. I'm looking forward to seeing it. But they still produce, you know, Overlord, and they have some series that they're still producing, but they're definitely not the same powerhouse that they used to be. And it, you know, it makes sense because they, you know, a lot of the staff left and went to MAPPA, which I'm sure a lot of them are regretting that decision now, knowing that just how overworked they're being. And I want to just throw it out there that I think that animated studios, that for the most part, you know, I think all animators are being underpaid for sure, overworked and underpaid. That's I think that's a given. However, I think that there's some limits to it. I think that some people are more accustomed to working in certain conditions, and I think that MAPPA in particular, it feels. I'm just gonna put it straight up. It feels like working at a sweatshop. They're just, if you guys seen that Simpsons episode where they're, the kids are just creating a bunch of merchandise in a sweatshop. It feels like that's how the MAPPA animators are being treated, and it's terrible. I hate it because, somebody that has worked at hard labor jobs, and you feel like you're being underpaid. Just getting a little more personal here, guys. I feel how they're regarding. I definitely don't think that I'm in the same working conditions as them, but I just, from personal opinion, I see that why you would want to, speak out, because otherwise nothing will change. And you see why these animators, they're willing to risk it all. And this is Japan, guys, where, a lot of people don't seem to understand that over there, they're not as vocal when it comes to the working conditions. They're very hush. They don't want to take all this drama out there, but they reach their breaking point. A lot of animators have reached their mental state where they just snaps, and they're willing to throw their entire careers just so they can, expose the terribleness that's happening on MAPPA. Now, where MAPPA, I think they started at first, you could say that they weren't terrible because they only had a few projects. But as time went, they kept getting more projects. And I think it all started, if I had to pinpoint a moment where they flew too close to the sun and everything, started to crumble after that, I would say it was JJK. When the first season of JJK came out, a phenomenal hit, everybody loved it, and then they took on Attack on Titan. And if you guys know the production issue with Attack on Titan, the final season, and it got split into 4 parts, that's insane, guys. And I don't know if that was a Kodansha move or a MAPPA specifically move, but the point is, the scheduling has been terrible with Studio MAPPA. And it's because, once again, they don't give enough time to these animators. They might say, okay, we'll put out this season in July of 2020, let's say, hypothetically. We'll put out a season of this show in July 2023. But they announced that they're taking the project 6 months prior. They're not going to be able to animate all that. But the animators are going to be like, dude, are you serious? We need more time. But to them, they'll be like, oh, I don't know. Sorry, guys. You guys got to figure it out. And I think that's how we got to 4 parts of Attack on Titan, the final season, which I could go on a rant about that. If you guys want to see me rant, just watch the Attack on Titan rant. But just keep it short. We also see a lot of issue productions where, thankfully, the only one that I have seen that there was no drama, no controversy, thankfully, it was Vinland Saga Season 2. And the reason was, I believe, is because a lot of the staff that went, that studio with, that worked on the first season of Vinland Saga, they went over to MAPPA to work on, the second season, which, having the same, director and all that, I think they did a great job, and I don't think anybody was upset. From my understanding, I never heard anybody any of the animators speak out on Vinland Saga Season 2, but I could be wrong. Maybe they have, or maybe they haven't. But personally, I never saw them speak out. Probably, like I said, it's probably because they were accustomed to working at a certain way at Studio Width, and Studio Width's, working conditions were much better than MAPPA, and the same director went over. So I think that everybody was pretty, happy overall in the production side. Now, as for Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 and Chainsaw Man, I think that those animators, I think Chainsaw Man had enough time to animate it for sure. But when it comes to Season 2 of JJK, the production issues were all across the board. If you guys go back to the beginning of Season 2, when we had the Gojo flashback, when, the heaven burial, the whole thing with Gedo and Gojo's past, once that, I believe it was 6 episodes or 5 or something like that, when those episodes ended, there was a 3-week break. And we had a recap of the Season 1, then we had the movie recap and whatever, and a week of hiatus. And right there, it was already red flags that whoa, you guys are not even ready yet? And it's starting to pile up, because now, from what we're hearing, is that not even the next episode has been finished. Episode 18 of Season 2 has not been finished, from my understanding. I think that animators have just given up, and they're saying that this episode is not even done, and any episode going forward is not even completed. Which is insane to me. How are you guys scheduling something out and not even being confident that you guys can get it out? Talk to your animators, be more open-minded, and listen to them more, because I get that companies are greedy and they don't care about, their working staff, but it all comes back to, it all comes back to, for me, my ideology that, companies are not made by the CEOs. The companies are made by the workers. That's just my opinion. That's always been my moral in life. Without the workers, there ain't no success in any company. And without the animators, they ain't no success with MAPPA. MAPPA would be nothing without the animators. So I think that 100% they need to hear more what the animators have to say, give them more time, because it's unacceptable for me to hear that what's the name? I'm sorry. I was gonna go. I think it's ridiculous for me that an animated studio like Toei that has aired One Piece consistently knocking it out of the park week by week since Wano has been able to be doing that for years. Yet MAPPA can't even figure out how to schedule or give the animators enough time. Like, that's insane to me. When it comes to other animated studios, like I said with One Piece, during the Wano arc, they were releasing phenomenal week to week with the phenomenal animation, and every animator says, had enough time. It took me months for me to make this episode. When you get JJK, they only give guys like 2 weeks. Like, are you serious? And the final product is great, but just imagine how much better it could be. Because, to put it in simplest terms, if you're only working at 20% capacity when it comes to, because you're overworked, you're tired, you're not getting enough sleep, you're not going to be working at your fullest. Whether you're an athlete, whether you're a business person, an animator, anything. I think if you don't get enough sleep or you're overworked, then you're just tired, bro. You're not going to give it your 100%. There's only so much coffee and energy drinks can do to keep you going, because you're just going to be like an autopilot. You're not really going to be, and I think that all the animators are giving them their all, but just imagine if they were healthy, like if they had enough time to pretty much be outside and not be stuck drawing. Because if you guys didn't know this also, Studio MAPPA, I think like last year or a year and a half ago or something like that, put out this ridiculous newsletter or something like that, and where they say that, work for Studio MAPPA, you guys can even get an apartment here, and pretty much what it comes down to is that they were trying to make it so you have to live literally in that studio, because they don't want you to leave. They want you to consistently just draw and just live there. And that's unexcusable. I think that that's just disgusting and gross. And I'm very happy because right now, animators are finally speaking out. All hell broke loose, and hopefully some change really happens going forward, because these animators have been through hell, guys. Like, they really need a break. And I think that the best way to do it is by, speaking out their voices out there in social media, and hopefully something changes, because if nobody works at Studio MAPPA, guess what? Studio MAPPA is going to go downhill and nothing's going to happen. And, and I think that's not something that the CEOs want, obviously. So I think that a real change has to happen, because I get that it's all greed at the end of the day, guys. It comes down to just purely CEOs that are being greedy, because it makes sense why they keep taking projects left and right, because they're trying to, get more money. The more projects they get, the more money they produce. That's my understanding. So they're making more deals, making more, co-assignments in, animes, and that's how they're getting more money. That's how this is how Studio MAPPA build itself up, just by producing animes left and right. And I think that's, it worked out in the sense that you got your clout, and, you're now an established animated studio, and why not? But it doesn't help if your entire backbone of your company is literally ready to leave you. And another example would be, for me, Ufotable. Another studio that's very sketchy. I mean, if you guys look up, you can look up, they have a lot of tax history where the CEO was, I believe he got caught by the IRS for tax evasion and tax fraud and all that. So another sketchy animated studio. But I will say the animators themselves, they know that Ufotable, I believe they only make like 2 animes a year, or maybe 1. And Ufotable, Demon Slayer. That's their big bread and butter, as well as the Fate series early on. So that makes sense why, to them, like, they have enough time to make this amazing product. And I think that, like I said, MAPPA really needs to downscale, because if nothing changes, these animators are really going to leave. And if they leave, like, what's going to happen to us, the anime fans? We're going to suffer, because what's going to happen to these animes that we're going to look forward to? They're going to be more delayed, or not even delayed. They're going to be probably canceled, because if there's nobody attached to the project, then what? Or maybe animators that are not as good are going to be attached to it. And yeah, it's just a tragic situation that's happening at Studio MAPPA, and it all could have been avoided. In my situation, if there was a what if scenario, I think this could have all been avoided single-handedly if Studio MAPPA, let's say they do take projects in, like, yeah, we'll take it, release them at a timely manner, guys. Like, or talk to your animators and say, hey, where is it realistically that we can release this? Don't tell the animators, I want it by this date. and like it's not enough in the animator studio. It's not enough time when the CEOs or whatever, they go, well, work on it, like figure it out. That's not the way you're gonna get real results. I mean, it works out in the sense that you guys get these animes out and you get your money and all that, but at the end of the day, if if the people that are working at your company, that are the best animators you could get, and the guys that have been there, for a long time, if their morale starts changing, it will influence the other employees as well. And those employees will also change and look for other opportunities at other studios, which would make 100% sense. It makes 100%, sense. Because why would you stay there? Literally, like, why would you? Like, if you guys are watching this video, if you were working at Studio MAPPA, why you're staying there? I get that you're trying to, get an established name. It's a big studio. You really need this break. But if you're an established animator, like already a veteran in the game, why would you ever want to work at Studio MAPPA? Even some veterans have said that in the past. I believe the guy that animated, or was the director, something along the lines, between the Jogo and Sukuna fight, he said, he went on record saying, like, I thankfully I had enough time to animate this fight and all that, but he was like, I would never work at Studio MAPPA again, like, or something along those lines. You guys can look this up. He pretty much, it was a veteran. It's not just a nobody. This guy's a veteran at animation. He said, I would never work at Studio MAPPA again. Like, nah. And like I said, once you start, piling all those elements back and forward, you're gonna start seeing that, nobody's gonna want to work at your company besides, maybe up and comers. But I'm not even, I'm not trying to downplay up and comers. They're great if they want to get established, that works out for them. But any veterans, they're gonna be scared off, and that's the thing. I don't want just the veterans to leave, because that would make it so MAPPA can, put the strong arm even more animators that are young, like up and comers. They can be like, oh, well, work for us, and the up and comers just want a shot, so they'll do anything to get this opportunity, even if it kills them. And it's just, at the end of the day, I think the working conditions, not just in Studio MAPPA, to be fair. I don't know how the other studios, go about it, but I will say this. From the decade plus that I've been an anime fan, 2 decades, whatever, since I was a kid. But I would say ever since I was in high school, when I started really paying more attention to the inside of anime and studios and all that, I have never heard of a fallout of a studio this insane. Like, I've never heard anybody speak out this ill about Studio With, or Studio, I don't know, Madhouse, or Studio Orange, or any animated studio like that. Ufotable. I never heard anybody speak out like, oh, this working conditions are unbelievable. The only other time I saw a controversy regarding like a studio production being really terrible was, if I remember correctly, it was 86. And if you guys seen 86, phenomenal series. I love that series. One of my favorite series of all time. Great anime. And the production side, it was terrible. I mean, that show kept coming in and out, and it was just a bad production. But it wasn't the whole studio that was a bad production side. It was just that particular thing. It was just one project. Same thing with like something like Men from U.N.C.L.E., another series that had terrible production side, Zoom 100. So production, terrible production, trouble happens left and right. It's nothing unusual. But when it comes to an entire studio, not just one project, I'm talking about an entire studio, it's just insane. Attack on Titan animators, like, you guys, I top my hat for y'all, because you guys had to suffer so much, and it was pretty much, they dragged this thing out for 3 years. You guys should have been given enough time to finish this in 2 parts, but you guys didn't, and you guys have to continuously keep working on this, and it was a real shame, because I wish that you guys would have had more time, and not exhaust yourselves as much as you could have, I wish that you guys wouldn't have been exhausted, which it's a tragedy. But yeah, I think that going forward, Studio MAPPA really needs to downscale their projects, as well as improve the working conditions, because if not, it's not going to change until somebody literally dies in their desk from not enough sleep, or being overworked, or whatever you want to call it. It's never going to change until we hear about it, like somebody being rushed to the ER, animators passed out and taken to the ER or whatever. Nothing's going to change until we, the people here, and the animators as well, spread their words for us to hear the terrible stories that are happening in Studio MAPPA. So, am I praying for the downfall of Studio MAPPA? Not really. What I want them is to get better. That's my big takeaway of this video. Do I want them, like this whole company that, has made a lot of animators, being able to spread their projects and their passion out? And I don't want a studio to be, bankrupt or, be tarnished. I want them to get better. I want them to learn from their mistakes and improve upon, so they can, continue to produce great quality content. And that's something that I think that most of us anime fans would want, you know. But at the end of the day, it's only gonna take effect if, we speak out about it. And, like I said, I'm trying to just take the word out. I'm trying to spread the word out for you guys, for anybody watching this video, to please, like, reach out. I don't know, like, just, let people know what's happening at Studio MAPPA. Because if the more people know, the more people will be able to spread their word, and just, a real change will happen, hopefully. Because otherwise, these poor animators are going to keep suffering. And another thing I wanted to bring up is that when it comes to Studio MAPPA, the way that I wouldn't even say consistency, the way that they produce their shows, like I said, it's so rushed, in the sense, not from the animation standpoint, like the animators are doing great. I'm saying that they just say, okay, next year this season comes out, and then the next year we'll have a follow-up to that season or something like that. It's like, whoa, hold up. The only one that hasn't had that is Chainsaw Man Season 2, because we still don't know. Because right now, like I said, MAPPA is being overworked. Every animator is being taken to do another project. I know Season 3 of Vinland Saga has been greenlit, and it's coming out sometime in 2025 or something like that. So Chainsaw Man's way back in the catalog. So I don't even know when Chainsaw Man Season 2 is coming out, which, once again, this also hurts your product. Like, as the longer it takes for a season to come out, in the sense of, once you take out so many projects, like, let's say, okay, what I'm trying to say is this: Chainsaw Man Season 1 came out, huge hit, right? Instead of you guys taking all these other projects, focus on Chainsaw Man Season 2. And that's not just me being a Chainsaw Man stan and, fanboy. I just mean it, like, it makes more sense. You had a good thing going, keep it going then. Keep the ball rolling. Don't, I mean, I get that you're trying to take all these other projects and, make all these other shows, but focus on your IP. Chainsaw Man is an IP that you guys, produce, and, you guys are getting the benefits of it. So make that IP and focus on that. Don't make 10 other projects before you even get your second season of Chainsaw Man, because by the time Chainsaw Man Season 2 comes out, the momentum's going to be slowing down. And that's another thing, like I said, with JJK Season 1 and 2, there wasn't that much of a gap, but I think that the reason is because also they were being rushed. And like I said, I don't think you can rush. I mean, look at Demon Slayer. They get these seasons ready, every, once a year. We get a new season of Demon Slayer once a year or something like along those lines. So because Ufotable says, okay, one anime per year or something like that. Like, so they'll focus everything they have into that Demon Slayer, and that's it. They don't focus on anything else. They keep that going on. And I think that is something they should do. I mean, I don't know, if I'm Studio MAPPA, I would be like, all right, focus on making the best quality product out there, but don't worry, like, you guys animators, get it done. We'll finance you guys. This is a deadline. Let us know if this is realistically something you guys can do. If not, we'll work it over with the TV companies and the advertisers and all that to make it work. Because otherwise, we're going to be having delays. We're going to having production issues. We don't want that. But, how the CEOs are, they don't care. They're going to be like, okay, well, get it done somehow. I don't know. You guys figure it out. Like, and that's not something I want to see. Because, like I said, it really pains me when I see hardworking people, being overworked and underpaid. Like, it really, ticks me off when I hear about people just being consistently overworked and not being paid what they should be. Because at the end of the day, guys, remember, these companies are making millions of dollars, and these animators are not doing that. And the animators are literally the ones that are making the product. Same thing, like, I mean, look at the writer's strike. Like, in Hollywood, to go a little bit off subject, the writer's strike and the actor's strike and all that, it all culminates in the same principle. These people are the product. These people are producing the things that make these companies money. Yet these companies are not trying to even give them a livable wage or something above what they are getting paid, because why? Because of their greed. And that's a real shame. But yeah, I think that I'll end it with that note. And yeah, I just really hope that Studio MAPPA gets their act together, because otherwise, I don't see how they can recover from this. And like I said, I don't want to see the studio just shut down, because I mean, there's people that are really trying to, make it work, and it would be a real shame if a studio could be shut down. I just want them to change and improve, and I think that's something that all of us should be hoping they do. But yeah, with all that being said, what did you guys think about this whole situation with Studio MAPPA? Let me know in the comment section down below. Are you like with the animators, or you think they're like, let me know your feedback. I want to hear the feedback. What do you guys feel about this whole situation with Studio MAPPA? Comment whatever you want in the comment section down below regarding the whole controversy. I want to hear everybody's point of view on it. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video and sticking all the way to the end. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I just hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And thank you for watching. Bye bye.